Hi, this is Boris. Welcome to another episode of the Artist Podcast. Today we're going to talk about Sigappu Rojakkal, which might be one of the first or the first serial killer Tamil movie, right? Um, so I'm just going to watch along basically. So because I hate editing. So the clever thing here is that you see those white roses. I'm turning off the sound because I don't want any trouble. Look at that. They turn into red roses with blood. I think that's really brilliant. Eastman colors, very common. So this is the main actor, Kamal Hassan, who plays this role. And by the way, if you're watching and you're curious, don't go to the IMDb and read the synopsis because it kind of ruins the whole movie. If you just want to watch a movie that you have never seen and you're not familiar with, watch it. There are no English subtitles, so I'm just gonna warn you about that. Also, there are, if you look, it's free on YouTube, and there are two versions. I've put the link on this video about the uncensored version, which is the better version, and the movie makes more sense that way. So while the credits are rolling, and that was the first thing that I wanted to mention, which was the credits thing was brilliant. Another thing is, I'm going to spoil everything, right? We're going to watch the whole movie. I'm not going to play the whole movie, but I'm going to play the important parts. So, spoiler for a 43-year-old movie, okay? So, let's just go to the beginning of the film. And this scene with the gardener here, right? It's pretty revolutionary, actually. I mean, I don't know what about his influence, Bharadiraja, the director's influences. I think this is his third film, if I'm not mistaken. And this whole sequence there's no music. It's just silent. And I really like that. I think it really creates this very... but I do feel like this gardener is playing up a bit. I mean, he's intentionally trying to creep people out. Yeah. So, he kills, and then we see him kill a mouse, and then he drinks, and then this guy. So we see him waking up. He's in a well-off family. He lives in a mansion. So, it's the when did this movie? It's the 70s. So you can look and see it by the haircut. And I just want to play this scene because look at what the kid finds. He sees a bra, right? And he brought 2 cups. And he says, yeah. No need for the second cup, right? So, okay, you're right in there. You're like, okay, is he a womanizer? Like, what's the deal, right? It's really great. So, so Dilip, which is the main character, he's kind of like he's rich and he's very stoic and. But he's also very kind. He, for example, he says he'll give money to this kid so that he can study, and we understand why he's compassionate toward this young man here, this young kid, this kid. So this is his birthday, so he goes to prison to give, and you'll see, it's. And he just gives this apple and then sweets to prisoners. And, sometimes they say what the criminals did. And there's a point where there's some voice echoing in his head, like of someone. And he, so this is the exposition time, right? Like the police officer is asking, like, why do you come here and give for your birthday sweets to prisoners? And he's saying, like, yeah, my father was wrongly convicted for a crime he didn't commit, and he says that maybe one of these men is like my father, and you know, he. So I'm just trying to help that way. So now we go to his company. He runs this big company, Minerva Imports and Exports. And I have to say, like, there are some clever edits. And you have to watch. I mean, if you're Tamil, of course, you will understand. I don't think you can find a subtitled version. I hope they make it. There are some clever edits in the movie where the one end of a dialogue is connected with another beginning of another dialogue, and it creates like really funny, and also helps the story move, like which is what the editing should do. And actually, like, you know, so this actor you see on the right hand side, his name is Kaundamani. He became like one of the best comedy actors in Indian cinema, in my opinion. I'm Tamil, by the way, so whatever is good in Tamil is good for me in Indian cinema. And and he looks very young in this. And speaking of young actors, like the actor playing the main character, Kamal, right? Like Kamal Hassan, he's 24 when he's playing this role, which is pretty young, actually. I mean, not surprising for a guy who started his cinema career at 4 years old. You know, he's been living cinema through the majority of his life. So you know, he the first thing, he interviews these women, and he hires the girl who is like very overtly sexual, and she's very like open to men, and you know, like compared to the others who are much more conservative and shy, and you know, and of course there are some serious back and forth with some double meanings being exchanged here. And then he meets Sarada, who is played by Devi, right? So, and she works at this shop where he goes and becomes a creep. Yeah, I mean, he's still suave, he's still charming though, but it's still creepy. And I have to say, like, with the Eastman colors, there are some really beautifully composed shots. Like, there's a shot here that, like, it's just a problem with. I know why people edit videos nowadays. But actually, there are some really beautiful shots, like this one with him with the different color saris in the background. And, you know, like, he kind of just keeps following her. And, you know, like, even the girl who works with her, he's like, and he goes there every time to buy handkerchiefs. And, yeah. And now we come to the part where we slowly realize, you know, there's something wrong, right? So this is the guy who the girl who got hired in the job interview, and this is his brother. She has disappeared, right? Like, so there's something wrong. Like, the girls that Dilip is interacting with disappear. So, you know, things, I don't want to go into detail, but things happen, and then they basically, you know, go on dates and so on. They get close, and they get married. I don't want to. There's some songs, of course, just like in many movies, and we get a display of Kamal's atheism. He's really famous for being atheist, and you know, she brings him to a temple, and and this is like the favorite part, that it's the one that's coming in, which is he married this girl and he's bringing her home, and of course he's like living alone in this really big house. And this is the part where I love. He gives the tour of his house, and this is like, and he doesn't like talk to the neighbors. Like, there's a point where the Sarada, like Sridevi's character, I'm just going to refer to them as the character names. Sridevi's Sarada, she's like sees like a ball come from the outside or from the next house, and the kids, they say like, "Oh, you're not nice, not like the other girl," right? And then she says like, "Wait, like she said that. I mean, sorry, he said Dilip said that there were no other women." And so you slowly get like an idea of like what's um, so yeah, so these kids like kind of put the ball, and then she's kind enough to give them back to them, and they say like, "Oh no," and she says, "How did she look like that other girl?" She said, "Oh, she looked like a demon." um, um, and so the brother learns about the fact that the last place she has been, she was hired in this company, so he comes here to inquire about her sister's disappearance, and he brought a waiter who saw his sister with a man in the hotel, right? Like so, and he brought him to the office to identify if. So, and it's played by Bharadiraja, who will also become a great director, who was obviously, I think, probably working as an assistant to Baradiraja on this film. So he's in his cameo role here, like the and it's really interesting, like the English in India, like for example, in India, you would say waiter, yes. You would also say butler, which butler actually, technically, I mean, it's not really a butler, but people just call it butler. And so this character, the waiter character, he's like, "Oh, I don't see the guy who's been with," and I love this part where it transitions. And again, I think Bharadiraja is still remembered because I think he was very revolutionary in the way he shot and like basically made these films. And he's like, so brother comes like, "Oh, sorry sir, like we couldn't find the guy who was with him in the hotel, so sorry, I apologize for this." And so he's like, "Yeah, look." And I love this part, so I'm just going to let it play for a moment. And he just looks at the guy who saw him, right? Like so that he can know who will be a threat. So now, and I like the edit here, and then it's sort of synced to the music that was playing in the hotel when in the club, or in the hotel when they were on date, like when he took her sister on a date. And it's really great because it's like, it's really well done, and the scene, instead of like just showing them talking, the scene is silent, as meaning it's so loud, like so loud that you can't hear anything that they're saying, but we know exactly what's going on, and I love that. So yeah, so we this is just to establish the fact that he saw him, and I just went too fast. So he comes home, he's a little bit stressed, and he's thinking about some flashback that will be explained later. And I love those still images. And he basically just has his first like freak out, and she keeps asking him, what have you done, what's wrong, and then he just breaks and he just screams and just writes nothing. And we just like, I think it's a way of showing that he's like, when he gets super stressed or super angry or anxious, he starts writing what he's thinking. So they show him doing this, and and again, I want to skip the set, but so we see she gets scared, and we have a song there where she's actually waiting. And actually, by the way, the music by Raja is worth mentioning. I'm sorry I'm playing silent because I don't want to get this cancelled, but and the songs are still very popular, and she's waiting, and she cuts. So this part, I thought okay, I know they wouldn't do that, but this is a big part here. Like and she just waits for him, right? So that's creepy. And she's hungry, so she's like going to get some, and she cuts herself by trying to cut the apple, and the black cat just. I thought the black cat was going to come and lick the blood, but actually no, I don't. I wasn't going to. So she basically just turns around and sees the black cat. Oh, sorry, that is what happens. Okay, so I'm sorry, I I didn't even remember this. But yeah, the cat does uh, lick the blood, and now the cat is looking at her. Oh my god, I'm so stupid. Look, I watched both versions, and I think I remember some of the versions from the censored where they actually didn't show, they cut that part off. So yeah, the cat just licked the blood. So I just discovered it with you. So she goes and she's like looking at the place, and she's like, wait, why is it moving? And I think there is some water. I don't know, maybe like there's some problem with the pipes and the water is coming out, right? And remember, like that's the important part, because that's probably where that's where he buries all the girls that he kills, right? Spoilers, he's a serial killer, right? Like so, and I love the music, like when she sees I don't know why the hand is like, when it comes out it starts moving, but she just sees that, and of course the cliche scream, and you have to watch this, like Ilayaraja is just like brilliant. He creates this like really creepy score, and she finally breaks into that room where we're going to find out what really happened to him. And this is a flashback where we see Dilip young, and he's like trying to ride this cow. And there's a part where this kid comes and tells him something, and I've listened to it many times. I don't know what he says, but basically I think his mother is angry, right? Like so, and mother comes and beats him, and he runs away from the house and beats him in front of other women, and he sort of becomes part of this family who decide, they're compassionate enough to take him in and keep him as a servant. And of course there's a young teenage girl who's like lusts over him, you know. You remember the still images? This is what he saw in the still images, right? So he's like shy, and he closes his eyes. So, and then she just she blames him, like she says that he tried to rape her, and of course the parents believe her, and they beat him and they send him out of the house, and he goes to another house, and they finally take him too. So he starts helping this family, and so the husband goes abroad basically, and in that time the wife just decides to cheat on someone else. So this is the second time that he thinks that women are basically evil. And there's a shot here where actually, there's a problem, and the flight just gets cancelled. They come back, not cancelled, but like the flight just comes back. And the husband comes home, and he's scared, and he's saying like, there's someone there. And actually, in the sunset version, there isn't here. Like he doesn't find her in bed with someone. So of course he kills her, and uh, I know we have the iconic line, and and so, and he also realizes that, like, yeah, like he supports his and he's like, I'm going to raise you like as a misogynist. He doesn't directly say it, but basically that's what he wants to do, and that's what he grows up to be, a misogynist who kills women, who has sex and kills women. And we later find out that actually um, he also films his son having sex with the women, and he watches it in his weird guest house there in the back. Uh, and so she sees like the gardener going to this house, so she goes in, and they see this, they film, they're watching him like kill, and she screams, and they saw it's like a almost like a zombie kind of moment, and of course exploitation moment. uh, so she runs, and Kamal at the same time, so he tries to go see, and actually for this scene, um, uh, like you have to watch the scene analysis. I think I'll try to put the link. Watch scene like Sigappu Rojakkal scene analysis, and he, like, someone basically took the scene and basically took the lyrics from the song, and they say, like, the song actually playing in the party is actually related to the story. And so the waiter goes to the toilet, right? And so Dilip tries to go and convince him basically that I'll give you money, and you just have to forget that I wasn't there, like so. And he plays hard to get, right? Like, so he asks him like really a lot of money, and finally he gets angry, and then just basically beats him to death. So she tries to run, but he comes back, and so the father says, like, your wife saw everything, and he just loses his shit. So he goes, and this, I'm really sorry, like this, like this was unnecessary, but like they torture the cat. Like, look at that. Like, I don't want to see this. I don't want to play that. But like, yeah, the cat tries to catch her, and he sees that she basically manages to run away, and like, so he runs and tries to okay, I don't want to say anything. That's like a cliche way of screaming. They always put the hand over the mouth, and he just, like, yeah, he just stabs himself, and she runs into police. I don't know, like, how, because maybe they saw like a girl running, and then maybe someone called the police, so they got there in time. But basically, yeah, that's the police catch up to him, and this is like where I have voiceover from the director Bharadiraja himself, talking about, like, giving some exposition, right, like that, and it seemed to be inspired by like a real serial killer. And I kind of find, I mean, again, it is a really great movie. Like, I mean, it's not like actually watching it, I know, like, because you have your references of what a serial killer movie is from Hollywood movies and like Korean movies especially, which are more twisted. But like this was a lot that he was able to do, especially in the mainstream, like back then, like and they like killing women and then burying them and planting roses on top. That's great. I mean, I'm not saying that people should do it, but like that's like for a serial killer concept, like that's a really great idea. And so we see him in the prison, and the thing is, like, she still believes, and so now we have Sarah that bringing the apple to him, right? Like in the beginning, right? And she said, like, yeah, she says, like, I'm still praying, and I'm sure that, and we see him kind of like, remembers or kind of forgets, but, and he has written her name over and over again, and just like the end, like, it's a very psycho, like, and actually they have done of course the psycho, the voiceover with the zoom in on Norman Bates' face, but here and also in American Psycho they do the same thing where they do a voiceover while doing in Patrick Bateman's face, and here they do the same, which is he's looking at the camera and crying, so that there's something in him that still feels, and he's changed. So yeah, that's the movie that I wanted to talk to you about today. This is the first time I do this. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it wasn't boring, and I'm hopefully if you're watching this, you just wanted someone to like just bullshit about this movie, and I could have had someone to talk this with, but you know how it is. Like, you can never expect people to do that with you. You just have to do it yourself. So I just wanted to talk about this movie, and I did, and I hope you liked it. Like, the next time I'll be back with the normal like maybe audio format, and I have a lot of things to talk about in the future, but thank you for listening for Artist Podcast, and I hope if you want to watch the whole movie, if you watched it, and if you watched it a long time ago, and if you want to watch this movie again, I will highly recommend you go and watch it. It's free on YouTube, and follow the link for the link for the uncensored version in this video. But other than that, yeah, thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and I'll see you next time. Bye.